And this is, I consider my strength. I love teaching and I love moving and I try to make many projects. And it's hard to be a parent and a teacher at the same time. It's some cases it's impossible. Not all the time, but so I would say my advice to you would be stick to your strengths. Because if I was trying to make it, my wife she's a principal of an elementary school. She knows everything elementary, especially reading and writing. That's her thing. Masters in that. So she works with my little guy really well. She wasn't able to work with him today, so I was doing my best. So that wasn't my strength. I just stuck to the whatever she gave me. I forget. I can't even remember.
Yep.
But my older guy, we were doing the writing process, or excuse me, paragraph writing, like a topic, sentence, and then supporting detail. But that hamburger looking thing. So what we did is we went downstairs. We made an obstacle course, and he had to make an obstacle course, and he had to run his brother through it. So then we related that to the writing process, or excuse me, the introductory paragraph. I can't even remember what it's called. I'm sorry, but he had to introduce it. He had to explain what was going on and give the supporting details, and then he had concluded it. So it was really easy because he's talking about it, he's building it, he's moving it, and now we're making it more concrete. Stuff like that is if it doesn't have to be pen and paper, sit down and talk about it. You can physically make stuff. So things like like I said, math is easy to do because it's you can incorporate the problem into like a thing. Spelling is good, but like for some of the older kids, stuff like that's a bit more abstract. It's a little bit more difficult, but so stuff like that is cool. So the writing process, you can relate it to something physical, something tangible, something like the obstacle course, sequencing. I had some more examples. I'm sorry. Have them with me.
You're good. Let's answer some of these questions before we get to our last point, because our last point I feel is going to be the most important of tonight. Real quick, let me get to some of these questions. Recommendations for older children. Christina, it really depends on your child. Age to me doesn't matter. To me, what matters is their needs and where they're at and what skills you want them to learn. And Matt, I think you'd agree with me on that. It's kind of, at this point, we take age out of it and do what's necessary.
Yeah, recommendations for what? For school? For
I'm assuming it came up when we were discussing lesson resources. So a lot of the resources that we gave do have a variety of age resources. The Common Core standards, that will have a resource for all ages. I mean, it'll have the Common Core standards for each age level or each grade level. So that's going to be there. Now we have Jill Stanford asks, how do you keep up with schooling for younger kiddo with no place to be? I don't want him to fall back because of something out of my control. Trying to figure out exactly what you're asking, Jill, with no place to be. I guess you can really learn anywhere. I mean, Matt, we've talked in the past about how Reggie will go outside in the hammock and he'll read.
Yeah.
So I guess you can kind of use what you've got where you are.
Yeah, and that kind of goes into the last point you would bring up about maybe not. I mean, I'm just trying to be realistic, right? Everyone's in the same boat. We're trying to keep our kids as close to grade level as possible and do our job from home, most of us, or even just get through the day, because some of our kids are a bit more challenging and it's tough. So, I mean, we do what we can, use your strengths and take breaks. And I wouldn't, do your best not to stress about it, because we're all kind of going through the same thing. It's not easy. It's for sure not easy. My wife and I are pulling what we have and doing what we can, but even still, we're not, it's not the same as going to school. So instead, some of the things I'm focusing on is, Jen and I were talking about this before, is doing some real life stuff. Like yesterday was a total disaster. Like I gave up in the morning and we cleaned toilets. It was kind of a punishment, but at the same time, a learning, because they were having a rough morning and I was done. I was like, you know what, I can't do this. I got some stuff I got to do. This is how you clean the toilet. And we did that, and then we cleaned the fridge, and then we went outside and we threw sticks at threw rocks at a target. Just these are things we don't normally have time for, but those are important skills to have that will help you later in life, like especially things like cleaning and you were talking about, you did the real life math. That's really important stuff. If you have the time and you have the patience and you have the ability, then focus on those things. If you are struggling in some of those areas, take a break and do what you feel it will work in that moment.
And I mean, I'm teaching, my son will be 16 in a week, and we've been working on real life skills like cooking.
Yeah.
And last night we had an accident on the carpet, and I taught him how to use a steam cleaner.
Yeah, I mean, real life problems, they arise. You don't even know what you might come across. Exactly. Like suddenly you're cooking, I'm going to teach cooking, and oh crap, now I'm teaching how to use a steam cleaner, right?
Yep.
It's doing things that are positive, that are fun, and keeping them engaged is also a big part of it.
Exactly. And one thing that Angela King says is to keep them engaged, and I love it. On YouTube, there's Cosmic Kids Yoga.
Oh, cool.
It's a really fun program, Matt. You'd love it.
Cosmic Kids Yoga. I understand this.
Cosmic Kids Yoga. It's very calming, and it's helping them center and focus and using muscles. I love it. Angela Renee says that they love ABC Mouse. I agree. ABC Mouse is amazing. And I believe there is a code somewhere online that right now, because of what is going on in the world, ABC Mouse is actually giving most families that qualify 3 months of free ABC Mouse resources. So, Angela King again says, our school had our kids make games with dice and Legos. So now the kids are using them all the time. That's a fun, neat, it's different. And that's what we're saying. We're not teachers. We're not in a school. Traditional learning is not going to work at home.
And you can mix it up. I mean, I have a little whiteboard I found somewhere at a thrift store ages ago, but I ended up having I don't have worksheets. My printer's broken all the time. It doesn't work. So we end up having some dry erase markers and writing on the window or on the kitchen counters, because that stuff wipes off. And then, then they got to clean it off. And then they're getting some good fine motor and shoulder stability and all that. But.
Now, Christina asked for older kids, it was about the movements. Pretty much any movement you can do is acceptable for all ages. But like Matt was saying, one of their movements yesterday was learning how to scrub a toilet, that physical exertion of scrubbing a toilet. I live where it's beautiful. It was 86 today. I've been getting Jack to mow the lawn. It's physical exercise.
Yeah. Outdoor chores for sure. Yeah, we started building a garden. I had my kids make a lattice for tomatoes.
Oh, wow.
It was a disaster.
My parents are going camping this weekend. So my kids went around our yard and picked up twigs and put them in a bucket for kindling for my parents.
And, I think that reminds me also, like kicking your kids outside or wherever, letting them be bored, I think is a big skill. Because we live in a time where we're like all over our kids, that helicopter parent kind of style, right?
Yep.
You gotta remember, it's okay, so 4 hours went by, I haven't seen my kid. That can be a really good thing. Like then they're in there, they're making their own decisions about either they're outside or they're in their room or somewhere, as long as they're not setting the house on fire. You don't want that.
Well, when they're babies, everyone keeps telling you, let them learn to self-soothe. This is the same, but it's more for older kids. Let them learn how to work it out on their own.
Exactly. Yeah.
Let them learn how to be alone, because you're not always going to have someone hovering over you.
I've even run away from the dad, and I'm out. So I need a break.
Don't all parents lock themselves in the bathroom at some point in their day?
Twice a day.
Hey, today it's only been once, so we're good. But it's only 7:30. What is the best way to keep a kid that's 7 focused. Lots of movement breaks.
Yeah,
lots of engagement.
Movement's good. And then, I think when we talk about focus, I mean, movement is great. Movement is fantastic. And like before an activity, if you can do it during an activity, definitely take a break after the activity. Like moving as much as possible, depending on what's going on with your kiddo. But when in doubt, use heavy work. Right, heavy work is a great way to kind of help your brain get organized. And when you know what heavy work is, it's picking up weight or moving weight, and that can like today I had my little guy lifting weights, and I had him in the basement where he was just picking up a dumbbell, a 2-pound dumbbell. He loved it, but it doesn't have to be that. Maybe your kid doesn't. That's not his thing. So, stacking pillows or swinging around, stacking heavy buckets of water or picking up rocks outside. Anything where there's resistance. That proprioceptive input it does help you get organized. So that you can mess around with that.
Jason actually said that every day they have PE lessons in the backyard for an hour. They do jump rope, running laps in the neighborhood, playing different exercising games. If it's raining, they'll go inside and use the balance ball chair or the wiggle seat, because you can actually balance yourself on them to work on those core muscles. Lay on the balance ball chair and work those muscles.
Yeah. And in my opinion, I mean, it's a fact. Kids don't get PE every day. In my opinion, if you guys take an hour a day or 2 hours or the majority of the day to move, it's only going to benefit the kids in the long run, especially kids with regulation or focus difficulties.
Exactly.
That's going to help in the long run. The more they move, the more they're not sitting and doing the work. The more they're getting that, they're building that body up. It does help with focus. It does help with regulation. So
I agree.
Let them rip. Let them.
Ooh, I'm excited. Angela's PE teacher actually is recording different lessons and posting them on YouTube.
Oh, cool.
So that they learn. That's an amazing thing. Matt, I know you have your site where you post different ideas.
I post a lot of stuff on my Facebook and Instagram. Yeah, almost daily. A couple times a day now. That's like I just keep blasting it up there. So
that's Sensory Tacoma, is it not?
Sensory Fitness Tacoma.
Sensory Fitness Tacoma.
And then on my website as well, you can see it, sensoryfitness.org. And I have a blog that gives you some ideas.
Now, we have one more point that I want to get into. I know we're getting close to the end of the show, but I really feel this is important because we're all getting stressed out. I mean, we're at the point where we've been locked down long enough. Our kids are stressing us out. Our spouse is stressing us out. We have work to worry about. So how do we deal with not stressing about kids not doing their work while we have to work? Because we can't put our lives on hold. We still have to work to provide for our families.
Great question.
So
what
do we do about not stressing about kids not doing their work? I mean, honestly, if they can't do their work, we do it on weekends. We've broken it up so much because she can't handle it that we do it on weekends, and I work during her breaks.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, do you, Teddy Roosevelt, do what you can with what you have where you are. And if anything more than that is icing on the cake. And if you can't do anything more than that, then, sanity is important. It's just, like why it's the same reason we're not going to work right now is because there's a dangerous virus. We got to keep it together so we can be healthy and go back out to work. Same thing in the house, right? We want to keep our sanity so we can have positive relationships with everyone we're stuck in the house with. And on top of that, be specific. Like I would look for, there's certain times of the day where we're all kind of more focused, where everyone has like a natural rhythm to things. Mm-hmm. Look at times where you think your kid is most focused, and you. Does it like I know at in the morning, my kid's a little bit more focused. Me, I'm not. It takes me a little while to get going. Like around 11 o'clock, for some reason, I start to kind of get like, okay, I'm ready now. My kid's like, wah! But that's the time I take because I can manage them. After that, we're both kind of scattered. But you look for your windows of opportunity. if you have a schedule and you want to stick to that, I think that's important. If you want to have some room for elbow room, I think that's also important.